Hey everybody, welcome to this Moving Panels One Shot, and we're going to continue our nerdy little conversation as we determine the worst superhero comic book movie of all time. If you tuned in 2 weeks ago, we had a one shot where we started this bracket, this ranking, and it went a little long, but we made it through round one, and now we're going to continue this into round two and all the way to the finals. So once we got going, kind of talked about the movies, has went a lot quicker. So we hope that you enjoy that. And so here it is, our continued conversation of what is the worst comic book movie of all time. So let's go ahead and move into round two. We're going to kick things off with The Crow, Wicked Prayer, Eddie Furlong, David Boreanaz, Tara Reid versus R.I.P.D. I'm just going to throw it out. Wicked Prayer. I would sit and watch R.I.P.D. Before Wicked Prayer, even though I do say we said in round one, Wicked Prayer is better than City of Angels, the other Crow movie that was in our list, but it's still worse than R.I.P.D.
Agreed. I would also vote the same way.
Same. Moving along.
Okay. All right. Next up, we've got Turtles in Time.
Oof.
Going up against Alien vs. Predator Requiem, our surprise from round one. That beat out Fantastic Four.
I'm still a little bitter about it, but man,
Gosh,
I don't know. They're both so bad. I guess Turtles 3 is worse.
Here's a phrase you're going to hear a lot in this round. Man, these are both so bad.
yeah. That's the thing. As this goes further, it's going to be, oh god,
this is becoming more painful, not fun.
These movies. And especially when you're having to think, we're doing a bracket kind of in reverse.
Right.
Like,
yeah,
we're picking the one that's actually we think is the worst.
Right. Yeah. So winning this bracket is not.
Winning is
right,
bad.
Right.
Yeah. You don't want to win this bracket.
So what you say, Tim?
What are my choices again?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3.
Right. Or
Alien
AVP.
vs. Predator Requiem. Or Stick a Fork in Your Eye. That's
right.
what your choices
I'll
are.
take the fork for 100, Alex. I am going to go with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Okay.
And I don't have a good reason.
You don't need one.
I'm just going with my gut. Like,
yeah. Again, we've reached that point.
Right.
We don't have to really debate it too much. We did all our debating in the first round.
Yeah.
Now it's just it's which one's going to cause more misery.
Right. Which one puts a pit in my stomach more?
Yeah. And I'm with you there, even though I really do not like Alien vs. Predator Requiem. If you're taking these characters and putting them into a bad movie, I mean, Requiem was at least a better bad movie than Turtles 3.
Right.
So yeah, Turtles 3 moves on. All right, next up, we've got Superman 4, Quest for Peace, against Barb Wire.
Oh.
Well, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it, Barb Wire. I can't say that I would. Yeah, I can't say Superman 4 is worse than Barb Wire.
I mean, one movie has a bolt cutter that can cut Superman's hair. The other one has, well, let's not finish what Pamela Anderson has.
Yeah,
but you're right. Barb Wire is worse. I mean, it is. I would watch Superman 4 again before I willingly watch Barb Wire.
Yeah,
Barb Wire is worse. Yeah,
it's a clean sweep, and I think it's because it kind of falls with the same. I guess we're going to get there. Batman and Robin. I love the franchise enough that I would watch the bad one of the franchise over just a terrible movie. So Barbed Wire is worse.
And Superman 4's got John Cryer in it. Like John Cryer was introduced, who now is Lex Luthor in the CW.
Yeah,
I had forgotten that, and I did find that to be quite interesting.
Well, it happened in Superman 3 too, because Annette O'Toole plays Lana Lang.
That's right.
In Superman 3, and then she would go on to play Martha Kent on Smallville.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
yeah, a lot of connection there, and that's one of the reasons why I love the Superman franchise. All right, now here we go again with Hellboy against Catwoman.
I mean,
I
think I'm going Catwoman because it's bad.
Yeah.
I mean, Hellboy is not that bad. It's not great, but it's not that bad.
Yeah. I'm. This is what just popping into my head is if they were to make another movie, I'd be okay with them bringing David Harbour back as Hellboy. I don't want to see Halle Berry ever play Catwoman again.
Yeah, no, you're right.
It's a clean sweep, so my vote doesn't matter, but I'm with you. Even though I haven't seen Hellboy, if you put those two movies before me, it's like, sure, let's go with Hellboy. I'll watch it for the first time. Let's do it.
Yeah. So you'd rather watch a movie you've never seen,
right, than to rewatch Catwoman. Yep, exactly.
Yeah. All right, next up, we've got Steel against Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance.
Oh.
Yeah. So we got big old Shaq in a metal suit versus Nicolas Cage losing his mind and being set on fire.
You know what? As much as I bashed on Shaq and Steel in general, it at least had a charm to it. I mean, it wasn't good, and it barely was even related to the comic. And obviously, the love that my podcast has for Nick Cage is well documented. I mean, we did a whole Nick Cage bracket.
Yes, you did.
But I'm voting for that one because I feel like it's infinitely a worse movie than Steel.
I'm going the other direction.
Oh, you're gonna make me pick.
I am. Only because I have no recollection of Steel. It goes back to that. Like, I know I saw it, but I don't remember it enough. It's because it's forgettable. Whereas I know I fell asleep on Spirit of Vengeance.
Yeah.
So, which would you think that makes it worse? But I don't know. I'm still going to go with Steel. I think I would probably rather watch Spirit of Vengeance again, at least to get a good 30, 45 minute nap.
I don't know. That's kind of a weak argument there.
It is weak, but that's what I'm going with.
Yeah.
I just want to make you. I just want to make you choose. That's what I want to make you make a choice.
So you made me choose. Well, so yeah, I kind of agree with Nicholas. Steel has a charm to it. You know, it's very reminiscent of those movies of the 90s. Like Meteor Man comes to mind when I think about Steel. You know, it had that Saturday afternoon movie kind of feel to it. It's a movie that can be enjoyed by more people, whereas I think Spirit of Vengeance cannot. Like, you know, not just because of content, like really actually be enjoyed, you know, by more people.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I got to say Spirit of Vengeance is the worst movie of the two. So we'll move on from that. And again, I'm not gonna really bash a Superman related thing. All right, here's one that might take us a minute. Neither one of these movies had a theatrical release. Man-Thing versus Heavy Metal 2000.
Oof.
Yeah.
I guess I got to go first on this one since Nick was on last
let's
time.
go ahead. Now, did you see Man-Thing?
I did not. I haven't seen either.
Did you see Heavy Metal 2000?
I haven't. So why
did you choose to go first?
This is because Nicholas went first last time. And for that reason, I'm going to flip a coin, and I'm going to say I'm thinking back to y'all's arguments because y'all have seen these. I'm still going to say Man-Thing is worse. So I'm saying Man-Thing goes forward.
Okay. Just so that we can make Nicholas choose, I'm going to say Heavy Metal 2000. And here's my argument for that is I own Man-Thing. So clearly I would rather watch Man-Thing. Because I have never had a desire to own Heavy Metal 2000. So
I'm gonna let my Marvel fanboy side win here, and I'm gonna say that of the two movies that I watched recently, I feel like Heavy Metal 2000 was far and away worse than Man-Thing, which is saying something because Man-Thing is pretty bad.
Man-Thing is bad.
So for me, Heavy Metal 2000 moves forward.
All right, next up, we've got a battle of a couple of sequels here. Red Sonja against The Crow, City of Angels. I'm going to just say City of Angels. that I'm going to be surprised. I'm going to go ahead and call it now. City of Angels is going to be the worst movie for me.
And I was going to say, I think
it's going to be hard for anything to be worse than City of Angels. I'm going to say City of Angels.
I was going to say, I have a feeling we're going to have a City of Angels in the
Crow,
top,
or
a Crow versus Crow in the final two. But I agree with you. City of Angels moves forward.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. City of Angels is worse than Red Sonja. Yeah.
And the thing is, City of Angels had something because they introduced an aspect of where the guy who becomes the Crow did magic tricks with his son. And so they had him like doing magic tricks before he'd murder someone, but they were really bad magic tricks. And then he didn't do it consistently. like if they had made that his thing, I think I could have found a little bit more kind of charm in it.
I will say City of Angels did have a pretty killer soundtrack.
Yeah.
I mean,
All the
but I
Crow
mean,
movies did, didn't they?
Yeah, Crow did, and Spawn did. Heavy Metal 2000, kind of has a decent soundtrack.
I mean, it's not enough for me to vote for it or against it. The sound. I mean, but yeah, it's definitely. I mean, it's worse than Red Sonja. I mean, Arnold kind of saves Red Sonja from moving forward at this point. I think.
Yeah.
Just because
I'll agree. Yeah.
More fun to watch, I guess.
All right, now we've got the battle of our bad DC movies, of which the actors went on to do better things. Jonah Hex versus Green Lantern. What's worse? Jonah Hex or Green Lantern? I think I'm going to say Jonah Hex. I think Green Lantern at least went for... it's hard to really compare these because you're talking about something that's taking place in the Wild West versus something that's taking place in space. But I at least like that Green Lantern went for it. Whereas Jonah Hex, I mean, really, what's that drastically different between the storyline of Jonah Hex and the storyline of Wild Wild West?
They're both terrible movies, so...
Yeah. But you've also got the villain who's using new technology to screw over President Grant. Aren't both of them go after President Grant?
I don't remember Wild Wild West enough.
Yeah. So, well, I'm saying Jonah Hex is the worst movie. Either one of you have to agree with me, or both of you have to say Green Lantern.
I'm gonna say Jonah Hex.
Yeah, I'm same. I think. Yeah, once again, I didn't finish either one of these movies, so I don't have a. It's not by a large margin again, but.
No, I'm going to say also Green Lantern does have the benefit of the actors. The actors to me in Green Lantern gave their all, whereas I think in Jonah Hex, like Josh Brolin did not care to be in that.
Yeah.
Michael Fassbender gave his all in it. I think John Malkovich didn't care to be in it, whereas I think pretty much everyone in Green Lantern thought they were doing a much better movie than it ended up being.
Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and listen to an 80s Flick Flashback podcast once in a while, you could miss it. Do you love movies of a certain age? Do you miss the days of VHS tapes, VCRs, and the video rental stores? Does the thought of another 80s movie being remade seem inconceivable? My name is Tim Williams. I'm the creator and host of the 80s Flick Flashback podcast. On each episode, I'm joined by guest co-hosts to discuss one of the many movies released in the 1980s. We share our first-time watch memories, our favorite scenes, and even learn some behind-the-scenes stories about the cast and crew along the way. New episodes are released every other Friday on your favorite podcasting platform. So make like a tree, get out of here, and go listen to an excellent episode of the 80s Flick Flashback podcast. The ad is over. Go home. Go.
All right, we've made it to the quarterfinals of the worst comic book movie. We've got our Elite Eight. So let's keep this going. And again, it gets worse. So first up, we've got The Crow, Wicked Prayer against Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3.
Man, I was gonna try to make it where it wasn't The Crow final, but I would. Oh yeah, I mean, using the same criteria I've been using, I'm voting Crow. That I would watch Turtles 3. Not necessarily willingly, but more willingly than Crow would. I would.
This may just be. I'm just maybe wanting to make things interesting. I actually wouldn't. I actually think I would rewatch Wicked Prayer before I would watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3. So, I think I'm gonna say Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 is a worse movie. I really am. Again, this is getting rough, but that was a knee-jerk gut reaction. As soon as Nicholas started talking, I was like, you know what? No, I really don't like Turtles 3.
I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, it's just...
Yeah. I think my hatred for Turtles 3 is going to push it beyond Wicked Prayer, because Wicked Prayer is bad, But there was part of me, and I think it was David Boreanaz, he plays such a campy but yet interesting villain. And so I think, yeah, I'm going to say Turtles 3, so it comes down to you, Tim.
Why must it come down to me?
Because two of us voted opposite.
Yeah,
I mean, that's how.
I could be swayed either way, which is bad because, once again, I didn't see the Crow movies. I don't think I saw Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle 3.
So it comes down to a guy who hasn't seen either movie.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't go wrong with either choice, quite honestly.
No, true. There's a part of me that's like, I want to go with Laramie because I don't want it to be a Crow versus Crow finale.
Go for it. I mean,
so
you're not wrong.
So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to vote that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 moves forward, just so we don't have the Crow versus Crow finale.
Okay. So, and I was going to say, if I will let you know, Crow Wicked Prayer actually had the lowest score.
Right. Because it's number one.
So
right?
It was the number one seed. Yeah. Whereas Turtles 3 was the 24th seed. So it was kind of near the quote unquote top.
Mm-hmm.
So, but okay. So we're going with Turtles 3. So one Crow movie is out. All right. Now let's go for the battle of the bad actress versus the good actress in a bad movie. Barb Wire and Catwoman.
Oh
man.
Just the noise.
I'll go first.
Okay.
I'm going to say Catwoman is better only because Halle Berry is a better actress than Pamela Anderson. That's my only justification. So I say Barb Wire moves forward.
Right.
Even though she's horrible in this, she's still a better actress.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
I try not to
wrong.
be.
Man, I'm going to say it's almost a convincing enough argument to win, to have Barb Wire win over Catwoman, because Catwoman is Barb Wire. I'm going to vote Barb Wire.
Yeah, I think because I'm trying to come up with another argument. So Halle Berry went from playing Storm to playing Catwoman. So she took a downgrade in comic book movies. Pamela Anderson, you may not remember this. This wasn't her last comic book related thing. Pamela Anderson went on to be the voice of Stripperella.
Of course she did.
The Stan Lee created Stripperella.
I do remember that now that you say that. I remember.
I mean, I don't necessarily know if that was. I don't know if that was an upgrade over Barb Wire.
I was about to say.
But,
I'm thinking that it was more of a lateral move.
Right.
So do I go with the fact that Halle Berry at least has played a decent comic book character, but then I'm not comparing these two movies. But yeah, y'all kind of already decided it's Barb Wire, so we're gonna go with Barb Wire. So Barb Wire is worse. All right, next up, we've got Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance against Heavy Metal 2000.
All right, I'll go first again. I'm going gut at this point. Heavy Metal 2000 is worse.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm going to have to finally stop bashing Ghost Rider and go Heavy Metal 2000 is worse.
Yeah, I'm with you. That same argument I gave earlier of I at least own Spirit of Vengeance.
I may never watch it, but I own it. Yeah, I've watched it twice, maybe. And then our final in our Elite Eight, The Crow, City of Angels versus Jonah Hex. I've already given my side of that. City of Angels is going to go as far as I can take it. Jonah Hex, I would rewatch. Again, not great. Oh, you know what? There was another person in that movie who went on to be better. Jeffrey Dean Morgan is in Jonah Hex, and he later on went on to play Thomas Wayne in the DCEU. Yep, he did.
As well as playing Negan in
Walking Dead.
So he's played two other better characters, but I get more enjoyment out of Jonah Hex than I do City of Angels. So City of Angels is worse.
I'll say City of Angels is worse, only because once again, if I had to choose between the two, I would try to get through Jonah Hex again before trying to start City of Angels.
I mean, just so it's not a clean sweep, I'll vote Jonah Hex. Either you're losing either way, Like
there is no winner at this point.
Yeah, if you sit down to watch either of these movies, you're you've already made a bad choice to start your day, but
All right, here we go. The final four. First up, we've got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 against Barb Wire.
Oof.
Well, all right. I'm gonna have to say that. I mean, Barb Wire is significantly worse. I mean, TMT3 is not good. I mean, time traveling turtles and super cheesy dialogue aside, I think I could see myself sitting down and watching that on a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
Long before I'm ever willingly watching Barb Wire again. So, yeah, for me, Barb Wire moves forward.
Yeah, same. And I'm going back with the franchise because I would watch the first two Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies and I'd be like, I'll watch the third one because even though it's not as good as the first
finish
two,
out the trilogy.
Finish out the trilogy. Whereas Barbed Wire is like, it doesn't have a sequel for a reason. So
yeah, there's no base to go. I'm with both of you for your same reasons. And it's kind of the argument I gave earlier. Turtles 3 at least could be enjoyed by more people than Barbed Wire. Barbed Wire definitely would have a very
enjoyed by no people,
limited base. Yeah, well, it'd be enjoyed by those guys who are watching the movies in the cabin.
True. Yeah. It falls in the Barbarella categories, we're saying.
Yeah. All right, and so Barbed Wire is making it to the finals.
Ooh, who saw that?
Will it go up against Heavy Metal 2000 or City of Angels?
Oh,
and
man.
we already know my pick. I'm not even going to argue it.
All right. I mean, at this point, I'm going to vote Heavy Metal 2000 based solely on the fact that, for me, City of Angels has a better soundtrack.
Okay. There you go.
I'm not going to debate how bad either of the movies are, but I would. I mean, they're both terrible, but Heavy Metal 2000 is I just dislike it more than I dislike City of Angels.
All right, so it's up to you, Tim. Who makes it into the finals?
I'm actually going to go with Nicholas and say,
wow,
Heavy Metal 2000 moves forward.
Oh, y'all took out my Crow.
I did. Amazingly, Crow didn't make it to the final two. I think it's because I want the matchup of Barbed Wire versus Heavy Metal 2000.
Okay, well, there we go. That is our final. Worst comic book movie based off of what we have decided here. Is it Barbed Wire or Heavy Metal 2000?
And I want to say, when you gave us this list, these are not the two movies I thought would be here.
No, this is not how I envisioned this going at all.
I'm with y'all. Again, I was thinking City of Angels would definitely make it farther.
This is so incredibly different. This is almost a diametrically different than how the Pop Culture Roulette one went.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh, so
I mean, because y'all still had like big name movies towards the end, whereas we were even dwindling it down to to lesser known movies.
Yeah,
but I think it's also the benefit of we've seen these movies, whereas I think the three of you, there were a lot of the lesser known movies y'all hadn't seen.
Right, which is where which is why they got voted out early.
Yeah, because you couldn't.
You can't vote for something
them.
you haven't seen.
Yeah. So, and unfortunately, I took the time to watch a lot of them this time.
Yeah. What's crazy is both of these movies, Heavy Metal 2000 and Barbed Wire, I watched today. I watched both of them today.
Oh, man.
They were the last two movies for me to watch before we recorded. So that's crazy that they ended up in the finals.
That is wild.
Yeah.
All right, well, then you get to pick first then, Laramy, since you've seen them both.
Okay, I'll pick first. I will pick first. I will say that there was at least some enjoyment in Heavy Metal 2000. Some.
Very small.
Very small. Very minute. Whereas Barbed Wire, like, I think I spent more time looking at my phone than watching it, because there was just nothing of sustenance in that movie. You heard me say it in round one. I will say it again. The plot of this movie is who has the contact lenses. Like, that is what everybody is after. And it's supposed to be the Second American Civil War, but yet the bad guys are kind of dressed like Nazis. But yet they have no authority because they have to get the local like chief of police to actually arrest people on their behalf. And so that's just weird. And then, Pamela Anderson cannot act to save her life in this movie. Udo Kier is actually probably one of the better characters. And so that's saying a lot. I mean, there's like a mob boss named Big Fatso who gets hauled around in a forklift. It's bad. It is bad. Heavy Metal 2000, again, like I said, there was at least some enjoyment in it because it is this big epic space adventure where you've got the hero character seeking revenge and you've got her meeting all of these different, aliens. And so it at least has that kind of that epic feel. Again, the voice acting in it, not great. The story is kind of flat, but at least there's something to it, which is why I am going to say that Barb Wire is the worst movie because there's nothing to it. And like I said, there's at least something to Heavy Metal 2000.
I didn't really know how I was going to vote on this one, but you laid out some pretty convincing arguments. I'm not going to give Heavy Metal 2000 even that much credit.
Yeah.
Because, I guess it has a slightly better soundtrack. Although, I don't remember Barb Wire soundtrack, quite honestly. But
I don't really either, yeah.
But yeah,
Heavy
you're
Metal
right.
2000 does have Billy Idol.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, no, you're right. I would just assume, just sit there in silence for 3 hours and stare at you if you came over with both copies.
Yeah. I'd rather sit in silence than watch either one of these movies.
But if I had to pick, I do have to pick. Barbed Wire is worse. Yeah, you're right.
All right. Well, Tim, we still want to hear what you got to say.
My vote doesn't matter, but it's the same vote. I think we've, for all of your reasons, I don't have anything new to add. I didn't, like I said, I don't really remember Heavy Metal 2000. But I would rather.
I'll be happy to shoot a copy your way so you can actually watch it.
I think I'm sure I can stream it. Oh no, is this the one you said you couldn't stream?
No, I think it's on HBO Max.
Okay, it's on.
I know I watched
it's on Tubi.
Okay,
of course it is.
I know it's on one of the streaming services that I have on my Roku, and I'm mad at.
I have nothing. I have nothing against Tubi because I have found some stuff from my, my past that I've absolutely loved to be able to watch on Tubi. But if you find it on Tubi, that kind of gives you an idea.
What type of movie? This is true. Yeah. This is very true.
I just want to put that out there.
It is. Yeah. It is the home for obscure, lesser known, lesser loved movies. But yeah, I mean, Pamela Anderson.
And I will say, this is how much I dislike Barb Wire. Is I actually went against what I have said in earlier rounds. I own Barb Wire.
Right.
But I would rather watch Heavy Metal 2000, which I don't own. So
yeah,
there you go.
I think it goes back to what I said. And I think the first time we talked about was like, even if you took Pamela Anderson out of the movie is still terrible. Putting her in it just makes it worse. And for that double negative.
that double what?
It gets the win.
Did it get the win though? Did it get the win?
If you want to call it a win. Look, for Pamela Anderson, I think she'll take the win. So she's happy to take a win when she can get it.
Yeah, I mean, this is where, winning is not a good thing.
No. So there you have it. As of 2022, the Moving Panels podcast has decided that Barb Wire is the worst comic book movie ever made. I do want to apologize to Chris Warner, who created the comic book character. We're not saying anything against your character or your comic, but unfortunately it was turned into a horrible movie. So there you have it. Barb Wire takes it as the worst movie according to Moving Panels, and we are the definitive comic book movie podcast. So there you have it. But thank you, Tim. Anything you got you want to talk about for the 80s flick flashback with the holiday season approaching?
Ooh, man, we got some fun stuff coming up. Laramy will be with me for Christmas. We're going to tackle What some would consider not a great movie, but we actually like, is Santa Claus the movie.
One of my guilty pleasures,
Yeah.
Santa Claus the movie.
And
One of my dad's all-time favorite.
Well, that's going to be a fun one. Nicholas, how about you and the guys over at Pop Culture Roulette?
Well, we just finished up our Halloween marathon,
mm-hmm.
31 for 31, 2 years in a row. We had a lot of fun there. We just kind of last minute scrambled. We just ended up doing a bracket, so hopefully you guys enjoyed it, where we debated all of the biggest horror movie franchises. We did a 50 something bracket, and it was a big one for kind of like the big finale of the whole marathon. So that was
now the full franchises.
Well, we just debated the merits of the franchise itself. So
and you had 50 something franchises?
We limited it to movies that had at least 3.
Oh wow. I wouldn't have thought there'd be that many.
Oh, you wouldn't be getting. Hopefully by now you have listened to the episode, so you will understand where we're at. But what I found was like the Amityville loosely franchise. There's 40 of them.
Yeah, there are a lot of those.
Yeah, and then there's a lot of movies that only have 3, and so. I mean, if you've listened to Pop Culture Roulette or Media Pod Smash for any length of time, you will not be surprised that the outcome was what it was.
I mean, it's another guilty pleasure of mine is the Puppet Master movies.
I just did a Horror Through the Decades on Puppet Master because I watched that for the first time ever.
Oh wow! Yeah.
So you find that over on the Media Pod Smash YouTube page. So we've got a couple things cooking, but nothing set in stone that I want to give away just yet. But
very nice. Of course, I've got some Christmas stuff coming up. Gonna do a Christmas episode. Gonna look at a episode of Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman. Christmas episode from that. And I'm also going to talk about Santa in the comic books. So Santa has been in the comics, and so as Christmas approaches, get ready for that as well. Got some other exciting things coming up. Check all that out. It's all going to be fun. But thank you, gentlemen, for riding it through me for this extended one shot. That again we're splitting up over 2 episodes, so this will be the end of the second episode. But thank you both.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
And thanks everybody for listening. Rate and review the show. Get us out there. Do the same thing for the 80s Flick Flashback and for Pop Culture Roulette. Show the love for all of our fellow podcasters. But we're going to go end it today. Again, Barb Wire is the worst comic book movie according to Moving Panels. And so now I'm going to find out whether or not Tim or Nicholas is going to come back to me to actually review it. So we'll find that out. But for today, for Moving Panels, I'm Laramy Wells, and I'll see you on the other side of the page.
What is that squeaking noise?
I'm trying to figure that out too.
I'm sorry. I was trying not to lock. I was trying not to lock the dogs up, and apparently she decided to find her squeaky ball. So hold on, let me go take it away from her.
At first, I thought it was like a squeaking chair, and I was like, "No, that's something else."
Hold on.
Yeah, I'm like, that's an animal.
Right.
What seems to be the problem, pal?
There's just so much pain in the world, so many issues. I don't think I can bear it.
Hell, friendo, it sounds like you could use a dose of Pop Culture Roulette.
Pop Culture Roulette? What's that? Some sort of pop culture themed podcast or something?
That's right, sonny boy. When hope seems far, dive into some PCR.
But I already get my entertainment news from Variety.
Huh, that's pretty good. If you're a chucklehead, PCR gives you news you need, condensed, unfiltered, and raw, from 3 nerds who know a little something about something.
Wow, okay, sign me up.
That's the spirit. Pop Culture Roulette. New episodes every Monday, available on all major podcast directories.